Welcome to the second record of this series. Today we are going to talk about stepper motors. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. So a stepper motor is a specific type of motors that you can control the speed of it, you can control the number of steps or the number of degrees that the axis of this motor rotates. And it's different than other motors. Other motors you can control the speed of it. Other motors you can control the direction of it, but you cannot control the number of degrees that this motor or the axis of this motor rotates around itself. Usually stepper motors look like that. It looks like a box. It has an axis like that, and it has several inputs. It is not like a usual motor that has just two wires and you connect it to the power source and it rotates. It is different. Usually it has 4, 6, and maybe more inputs. But the trick is, this motor you cannot control it directly. You have to have something called stepper motor driver. And the stepper motor driver usually is an electronic board. It looks something like that. Maybe it's a closed box like that, or maybe it's open, an electronic board like that, or like that. It has different sizes, has different specifications, different features, and they share one common thing. Most of those electronic stepper motor drivers, they use the digital signal, and the digital signal is an input that accepts 0 or 1. It may be also a digital output. It outputs 0 or 1. And usually the 0 is something between 0 volts, 0.5, 0.8. It depends on the electronic board and the standards that they use. And the 1, it is called low and high. Low is 0, high is 1. The high is something between 2 or 2.7 volts up to 5 volts. And again, it depends on the electronic board that you are using. So when you give this electronic board some inputs and you connect this board to the stepper motor, you can control the number of steps this motor rotates around, the axis of this motor rotates. Usually you have two inputs, step input and the direction input. Both of those two inputs are digital inputs. So if you give the direction input to 0, low, and the step input, you keep alternating it between 0 and 1, the motor will keep making steps. So every time you change the step input from 0 to 1, the motor rotates one step, and usually the step is about 2 degrees. One other thing that most of those driver circuits share is the micro-stepping. And the micro-stepping is a way that you can increase the number of steps of your motor. So if usually the stepper motor comes in 1.8 degrees step. If you use the micro-stepping, you can decrease this up to a very big number. It depends on the factor. If you make the micro steps 2, so each normal step will be divided into 2 steps. So a 200 steps motor will become a 400 step after using the micro stepping feature. And the way that you control the micro stepping is usually you have switches like those, or maybe you connect some jumpers in the board, or you have some switch like that. It depends on the board and the manufacturer of this board. So each board has its own way to configure the micro stepping. I don't want to talk much this time. I think it's enough. Today we talked about the stepper motors in a general way and how stepper motors work, and they usually don't work themselves. You have to connect them to a stepper motor driver, and then you talk to the stepper motor driver. You don't talk to the stepper motor directly. Thanks for watching this video, and see you inshallah in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.